Howdy, Beefalo Bart here, and welcome. Alright, not a whole lot going on. I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. Hi, Fred. How are you? No, I'm not going to talk to you. Are you going to reset? Yes, okay. So, I'm just kind of messing around with some NPC interactions. And, as you can see, get close enough to Fred, he starts waving. Get far away, come back, I miss you. He goes back to his normal thing. You can change the range on it again. But the whole point was, for a quest giver or something of that nature, you want them to be able to see you and do something. And then when you get close enough, want them to be able to stop doing the, hey, I'm over here, come talk to me. So then you can actually open up a really ugly widget for it, get a quest, and then, okay, and if you just walk away, you're good to go. And then I want it to be able to reset, so whenever you get back into his range again, he'll start doing it. But for right now, he's not going to, because we've already finished and we're done with him. We know where he is. So when we come back to him, turn in our quest, return quest, no problem. Bang, we get all our fun stuff and go away. But kind of what I was screwing with, but I wanted to open up this for questions and answers and things of that nature. I know everybody's stuck at home and exit. So there are multiple ways of actually closing that. Whenever you go up to them, talk to them, you can just walk away and it goes away. Or if the widget's open, you can actually hit exit and close it. Wanted to have both ways so the player is able to do its thing. Essentially, what I've really been working on with that is trying to figure out how to get it specific for whenever you walk up to Fred. And then if we create another widget here, and let's just say trainer. So we'll create this widget, and it's just going to be nothing to it. With the widget for Fred, and this is all we got in here, and don't need a whole hell of a lot. And we got all kind of stuff like setting information that this is unfinished, but essentially on event tick, it's seeing if you're still there, and if not, then it just takes the widget away. So I can actually just copy this. Trainer. That. Do event tick. Yeah, kind of a shortcut deal there, but essentially all we're telling it to do here is we're checking to see if the player is within this range here. We could have actually done this off of, in fact, let's actually get rid of that and do this the correct way. Let's go ahead and go back to our designer, and all I'm going to do is just grab an image, and we'll just turn it black. Okay, we'll anchor it to the upper right. Got a uniform size that I'm using, which was where's the background image right there, 320, so 300 by 300 on my size, and I want to try to keep everything uniform as much as I possibly can. And this would then be negative 320 and 20, so that it gets a nice little border. And then we'll change our Z order to -1. So whatever we put in here on top of that will be on top instead of being on the bottom. And anytime we're doing this, always want to give names to everything. So that's our background. Compose, save, and then I'm just going to put a button in here, and that. We're just going to change the text to say exit. This will be deleted later. And with our exit button, let's call it exit button. Now we can actually scroll down from here if we want to and unclicked, or if we select it from here, we can click it there for unclicked. So unclicked, what we want to do is remove from parent. That's all we're doing is getting rid of that widget. But when we do that, we need to get our character and we need to set our input back to game only. Get our player controller reference, and we'll shove it right there, and set show mouse cursor to be off. So that will put us back into a normal method there. We're going to close Fred. So we got trainer, and we can close Fred. And that should be good enough for now. If we go back to our NPC, let's create a new one. And I really haven't done enough to work with these, so we're just going to clone that one. Duplicate, and we're going to call this our trainer. Go into it, and our name, look in our view box. For right now, it just hovers in one direction. So let's just change that to trainer. How's everybody doing this evening? And we'll change our NPC widget to trainer. What we're actually doing with that is when we actually approach an NPC, I wanted to have a way of knowing automatically when we approach an NPC, I can press the F key. So we see at NPC, and if so, we're getting the NPC widget here. This has to be set by the individual NPC we're standing in front of. So if we look at this right here, we're just setting at NPC to be true and getting my name, which I haven't really used yet, but we'll just call this trainer. And we're setting that variable in the player. And again, I have not used that name yet, but I did create a variable. Whenever you create user widget, all I did was drag out from the class and promote to variable, and then I just named that variable to be NPC widget. So now in our NPC that we're actually approaching, we actually change this value right here. So when we're overlapping on component begin overlap, we're casting to our player character. We're setting with that we're at the NPC. This is not being used, so you can ignore that. And then we're also setting from the player the NPC widget, which is that. And then when we walk away, I have this here because when we walk away, I want it to do the same thing as if we hit the exit button. It sets our input back to game mode only and removes our mouse cursor. We need to also, well, let's check to see here. So we walk out to Fred here. He sees us, starts waving. We get up close. We can hit the key. We know we're at Fred, and if we walk away, it goes away. Hit F. If we hit exit, it goes away. So, did I do anything differently on Fred? I know I should be creating the actual master, but essentially what I did was I did the pawn sensing, and on see pawn, perform this action, which is just a multicast event, so everybody can see that it's waving. I'll probably change the replication type later on, but that works for now, and it gets it rolling. No, that's pretty much all we did. So if I actually take the trainer NPC now and approach the trainer, it should give me the option of and how's it going there, bud? Yeah, a couple things have been going on, but, besides all this coronavirus crap. I want to go back into Fred really quickly, and I'm going to do the box collision. I'm going to uncheck hidden in game so I can actually see that box. And I'll do the same thing on the trainer. I want to see the box collision there. I'll grab the trainer, throw him in here, and just rotate him around. So if I hit play, and I walk up to this guy, hit F, it's Fred. I walk away, that goes away. But if I come over here and approach this one, it's that ugly one we haven't finished yet. If I walk away, I want it to actually go away. So that's what we need to fix now. The hell did I do different? Now see, I've been, comfortable all day long temperature-wise, and now, as soon as I start streaming, it gets warm in here. We're not removing the parent that way. The @me is not currently being used. It is on Fred, but not being integrated into anything just yet. Wow, okay. Let me actually open up the, I think I know what it did. It was Fred's widget. We had the event tick in here. So I'll go ahead and I'll just do that. So trainer widget, let's go back in here, and we'll do an event tick. Normally event ticks are bad, but, whenever it's a small thing like this, it's not really worth worrying about. So essentially what's happening is when this widget is active, it's running that event tick, and it's checking to see if the player is still there, and if not, then it just cancels it, and then that event tick is something that's gone at that point. So if we go over here now, and got our Fred widget, walk away, come over here, we got our ugly widget, walk away, it goes away. Okay, so that way you've got one generic deal where you don't have to have a whole lot in the player. And a lot of things that I'm trying to create, I'm trying to do as minimal an impact of what goes into the player at any one given time. So this vendor interaction or NPC interaction is whenever you walk up to that collision box that is here in front of the player, or in front of the and around the NPC, then it automatically sets the correct widget for the player to view if they hit F. If they walk out, it goes away. Same thing over here. And I walk away. And if I hit F, it's not going to work because I'm no longer at the vendor. So you can't just bring up that widget anywhere. So if I come over here and then decide not to use that one, then go in here and then open up this one, it's still going to work back and forth. And the exit buttons will still work. The widgets will work no matter what. So yeah, that was done in order to minimize the player impact. And that was it. This is all there is in the player. Whenever you press the F key, you can bind whatever key you want. If you are at the NPC, then it allows you to create that widget, add it to the viewport, change your input to game and UI so that you can walk away and it changes the interaction of it, and then it activates the mouse cursor. And that is all you put in the player character to be able to get that to work. I had this one down here because I was trying to experiment with a few things, trying to isolate things from the player. Because with Stream Party, the ability of the admin or the host of the game to be able to promote somebody to a moderator status, trying to come up with a method of getting player status, and it checks. It's not going to be usable in this particular one here, but if you wanted to add something in like cheat codes, but you only want them ever to be for the host of the game, so that they can actually have a debug window and test something that wouldn't normally happen, or whether or not you can take damage or not, or something of that nature. So, dumb example is server. If you put that in here, and when we press the G key, we're going to ask, are we the server? And this is the easy way of doing it, and I like easy. If so, then we're going to print text, and if not, we're going to print text. So we're just going to do this, and this, and this. In fact, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to change this over to 5 seconds, and that's fine for now. Then we could do Control C, Control V, or Control W to copy it. I am the server. This is kind of a dumb use of it, but I am the client. So if I go in here and hit the G key, I'm a server. No problem. Duh, I'm the only one here. But if I go in here and add a second player, new pie, and this is the client window. So if I hit G, I am the client. Client says I am the client. And then if I come in here with the host and hit it, I am a server. The server is telling everybody, hey, I'm the server. In the case of one that's patrolling, say they're using waypoints or what have you, or brain just shut down again. Yeah, the thing. Okay, they're patrolling back and forth. Essentially, what you would end up doing is, say if they're walking back and forth, when you do your on-component begin overlap of that collision box, so yeah, so once you step into that, you can actually make it a larger collision box and have that. And like this guy, he's waving on the pawn sensing, but whenever I'm out of range, he stops waving. I get back close enough, he'll start waving again. That's using pawn sensing. But like with this guy right here, once I go in here and trigger that collision box, then essentially on component begin overlap, you would tell it to, for example, get a reference to the character movement, and set movement mode to none. And you would just put this on the component begin overlap, and with that, they're not going to be able to do anything. None. They're going to stop walking. You could then say you could do face the character. So let's actually do that, and without the character movement, that's how you would stop the character from moving. And then on component end overlap, when the player walks away from the NPC, you could set movement mode back to walking, and they'll be able to resume doing what they were doing. So in this case, Unreal Engine 4, I don't care about your frickin' bullshit. Just stop. Okay. So when we begin overlap, we want, say, the NPC to look at us. So if we're actually over here and we come up to the vendor or the trainer or the whatever, and we're here, as soon as we overlap, we want them to turn around and look at me. And without replicating it, we'll have to see what needs to be replicated to see if it actually needs to for the client. But for this case, on the trainer, on component begin now overlap, I'm going to do it as a custom event, so if I need to, I can replicate it. So custom and face me punk. Yeah, see, it's easier. A lot of things are really, really easy. Just, you break down each individual thing and you'll get through it pretty quickly. So face me, you've got a couple different options here, but there's only one that's going to work. Look at, nope, without anything selected, look at function. Now, you've got this and find look at rotation. This is your start location, but that's just a location, and that's a location. So, okay, for an example, let's try both of them. So let's get, let's actually get actor transform. So we have a starting transform to work with. Plug that in as my current. And then we don't have a direct reference here. So let's create one. Promote a variable. Target. I love whenever they just put it directly underneath like that. So I'm just going to plug that in here. So that we're setting that reference that we can use elsewhere. So get over there, thank you. Get a reference to our target. Get what would be the best way to do this? Get actor location out of the target. Plug that in here. Yeah, see, I don't like that one. I'm actually just going to stick with this one for now. And we're getting our locations. Let's just do this neatly to begin with. So we start here, get a target, get their location, plug that in there, and then we're going to get our location. I'm not sure why it's looking for locations, but again, could have just done a copy and paste here, but whatever. And set actor rotation to there, and even though it says self, I'm just going to get another reference. And then we'll just do face me punk. We're just going to run that up there. And we could actually put something back in here to put us back to our original. So if we go in here and we see he's looking that way, even his box collision has changed. Walk away, and what happens when we go back in here again? He turns and faces me, and he stays that direction. So if we want to get him to go back to where he was before, I guess what we can do is event begin play, so that we have a starting reference point, and normal rotation, rotator, and we start. We'll get actor rotation, and we'll set that. So our normal rotation is going to be set as soon as we begin to play the map. And since we did a custom event there, we'll do the same thing here. And custom return to normal. And we're just going to set actor rotation. Get our normal rotation, plug that in, shove it over there. So when we walk away, we want him to go back to what he was doing before. So if you walk up, boom, he's going to talk to us. Yay. We walk away, and we want him to go back to his normal rotation. Why didn't you go back to your normal rotation? Because I'm stupid, and I didn't plug it in. Return to normal, and turn to normal. So that needs to be on the end overlap. If you want it to work, you actually have to plug it in. Dumb little things like that, you know? So we'll come over here from the side. Wow. You totally didn't like that, did you? Why did you not like that? See if that makes a difference. Oh, Unreal Engine 4. You're so wonderful sometimes. Wow. At box. Okay. Yeah, the target itself, which is the actual NPC. Let's just run a delay of 5 seconds. All else fails, come back in 5 seconds. So, faces, we walk away. 5 seconds later, do we get an error? No, it just works. Okay, so the problem is we're still in the collision box, and it's conflicting on are we there or not. So let's try going back to the default of 0.2. We want to make sure that we're clear of it and that that command has the opportunity to work. So as soon as we leave, he goes back to normal again. But you look at me when I'm talking to you. Let's try a full second. Then we'll look to see why it is turning away while we're still standing there. Yeah. So see, it's working fine. As soon as I walk away, he'll go back to normal. It is a snap. I don't like that. But, yeah, whatever. But see, he just went back to doing his thing. When we end overlapping, we're no longer at the NPC. That goes back to normal. And then return to normal. All it should be doing is just turning his ass around. But for some reason, he decided he don't want to work. See, I'm not all the way in it, but I am overlapping the box. So it should be there, and it should stay there. And it worked just fine. They leave, and he goes back to normal again. But at slider angles, it seems like you don't want to work. But harder angles he does. So, I mean, I can open up the widget and walk away, and everything's fine. So yeah, whatever. But yeah, you get the point of the fact of just want to intercept that or get inside that collision box. You can add a second one in there, and it can actually they're going to overlap, but you can actually add it in there to where as long as you're within a certain range. Like see, Fred is using pawn sensing, so he knows that hey, there's somebody in front of me. Hi, I'm over here. Come talk to me. You could add in sound files so that they could be talking. You could also change it to where whenever they get close, they stop doing the thing and they start doing another thing. Yeah. So I don't know why he's doing that. And this, it's not like it's a game breaking thing there, but we have his attention. We no longer have his attention, and he goes back to normal again. One way or another, they need to go back to their normal state when we're not there. Currently, right now, Fred is broken because we've already used him. He's not going to reactivate anymore after this point because we have already utilized him. We know that he's there so that we can actually go back and he's not going to start waving again. And I could probably fix it to where it resets, but I like it that way. Because if I go back in here and play again, as soon as he sees me, hi, I'm over here, hello. But then whenever I walk away from his vision range, oh, I guess you don't like me anymore. So, yeah. You can do whatever you want on the begin overlap and end overlap. Now, the way that I did it with using the montage, I don't like that method. So I guess I could change it. You can see it works. We're out of his vision range. It doesn't work. And oh, please save all. Fred is using pawn sensing. When they see the player, any player whatsoever, then it's going to do once, play the montage, and then on completion, if you're still at the vendor, if you're not at the vendor, then it just doesn't work. It just goes to a reset and doesn't work anymore. On true, we could have it do something else, but I don't like this method. It doesn't work the way that I want it to. So Let's use the fact that we are at the NPC or not at the NPC. So we don't want them doing anything when we're at the NPC. Uh, say, for instance, if we have them dancing, and then we get over here and we're at the NPC and want that one to start doing a talking animation, as an example. So let's look at our animation. I'm using the generic NPC or the generic animation pack for these. For example, they could be doing this, just standing there idle, showing off their stuff, and then whenever you get close enough, they go back to the regular third-person idle animation. So if you wanted to do that, then essentially what you can do is blank NPC. So on, oh, we don't have anything on this one. This is just my blank. NPC base. Let us just do a duplicate testing, and I'm going to get rid of this stuff, this, bare bones on component begin overlap of the player. We're setting that variable to be true or false, and then we can also set a variable in here. And well, actually no, let's get rid of you. Look at our viewport and our default mesh. We don't have to use third-person animation blueprint. We can actually use a animation asset and pick an animation that we want them doing. Just for their idle animation. It could be doing that. You know, it could be farting and waving his hand behind his ass. Or, you, here, now. Yeah. Or you, go away. You're holding a baby, scratching your head, itching body. So we're just going to be showing our goods. Alright, so this guy, no problem. Throw him into the map and turn him around. Change your name. Stupid ass. So now his name is Stupid Ass. So there, we got Stupid Ass. We start playing, and he's just showing off his goods. So when we begin overlapping, we want him to stop doing that and go back to his normal animation. So we'll just get a reference to, well, first off, let's show that. Get a reference to our mesh, and we can actually put it right here in the middle so we can use it on both sides. And what we'll do here is set anim instance class to our normal third person animation blueprint, or whatever we want them to do. And here when we leave, we want them to play animation. And this was showing goods 2. Party simple. So he's doing his showing off his goods. And now when we get close, he goes to doing his normal thing. We walk away, and he goes back to showing his goods. So if he was walking, it would be the same principle. And whenever I'm doing basic animations for, or basic walking, whether you're applying it to patrolling or just whatever, just general movement, what I'll do here is, first off, we need a nav mesh bounds. And because this is a modified version of the third person template, 000 doesn't mean crap. I didn't make this. I should have, you know, it's not like this is a freaking new thing for my simple multiplayer Steam template. It's all, I've only been using it for like 2 or 3 freaking years. So we hit P. Yep, we got movement area. So we'll do just the opposite here. So for an example, when we overlap the bulks, we can have them turn and face us and that kind of crap. You're going to show his goods one time, I'm not going to have it loop. And then when we leave him alone, he's going to go back to his third person animation that way, so he can use his regular walking and that kind of stuff. But what we also want to do is give him the ability to walk. So event tick. Again, hate using it, but in this case it works. Create a new variable is walking, and that's going to be handy because when we're doing this, we're going to we'll come back to that here in just a minute. So basically, he's going to stop. He's not going to stop. We need him to stop. So let's go ahead and set movement mode. Let's drag you here. So you're none. And Control C and Control V. And you are walking. And just plug you in. Alright, so on event tick, we're going to ask the question, is we walking? And if we are walking, we don't give a damn. But if we are not walking, false, we want to set random set random shit. Why? It's not set random, it's random point and navigatable radius. Get. It's not set, it's get. Dumbass. No, let's actually do it the right way. Brain not working. AI move to. On the AI move to, get a reference to self, because that's who's actually walking. And I'm going to put that here because we're going to have to move things around quite a bit. Our destination. Where are we going to? Our destination, we need to get random point navigatable radius there. We need our origin, which we can get actor location here. So that's where we are. And since we are not walking, we want to start walking. So we're going to AI move to this location, but in our radius of 1,000 units is where we're going to walk to. It's just going to pick a random point there. You could tell it to go to a waypoint or what have you. but for this case right here, we're going to do that. And then from the executable, we're going to set is walking. No, go to hell. Just drag the damn thing in here. Set is walking. But before I check the box, I'm going to Control C and Control V. So while we're doing this, we're moving. We are walking. So we are now walking. On success, we can start walking again. On fail, we can start walking again. But let's build a quick little thing in here. And let's get a delay. So when we finish walking or we fail walking, we want to pause and then set is walking to false so that we can start walking again. And so that we can make this interesting. Random float in range. And we can set a time between 1 second and 5 seconds, how long they're going to pause before they start walking again. So if we hit play, we need to go back and change this back to animation blueprint. So I can do that. And event tick. Set is walking. I've only done this like 100 friggin' times, and I always end up forgetting something. This is all right. When we get overlap, it's going to stop movement. When we go away, it's going to allow movement. Is walking is false by default because, dumbass, I said from false if we are, and I don't know why, but automatically does that shit. So we start off, he'll start moving around, and you can see his box collision there. So as he's walking around, we want to stop him, and he's going to start showing his goods. And then we walk away. He goes back to his regular animation mode, and he should, yep, there you go, starts going back to patrolling around. And since the other vendors aren't they're not messed with by the NPC walking into the collision box, it's not going to matter. So we could do the face character, face our player thing. But, hi, how are you? I want to touch your genitals. I'm sorry, what did I say? So I only did that one time, and then we could have him go into another thing, and then go out. Let's do that. Let's have him, since he did this animation one time, it would be better if it was an animation montage, then we could play the montage and then go on to the next thing. Let's look at, okay, we showed our goods, and hold it, baby. No. Sneeze, washing a window, triumph, throw. So I got the wave montage set right there. So we could, in theory, it's complicated to make these the montages like that. I mean, it just takes forever. Yeah, I'm being sarcastic on that, by the way. Show biceps, washing windows, throw, thinking. We could do thinking. Oh, talking. So we want them talking to us. So we can just right click on it, create animation montage. Okay, we're done. And show goods 2 was the other one we're doing. Right click, create, animation montage. All right, we're done. So save all. Go back in here. Instead of play animation, let's actually move this stuff out of the way. No, you ass clown. Get back up there. Thank you. So instead of play animation here, let's play a montage. And we'll Control C and Control V and connect mesh up to there, this to on completed. And then we're going to set this one to be showing goods. When it gets done showing us goods, then we'll do talking. And then we're going to connect from here to stopping movement. Actually, no. We want, excuse me, I selected you for a reason. We want this stuff back where it was. And then from here, we're going to stop the movement first and then start doing these animations and stuff. So we're going to do this one. And then we're going to start talking. It's going to play it one time. Kind of like it to keep doing another animation. So, you know, we could actually just tell it instead of doing a montage here to actually play the actual animation so that we can tell it to loop. So let's just do that. Drag off from here and play animation. So once it gets done with the montage of showing its goods from uncompleted, then we can do this one, which was whatever, talking to. I was about to say, are you going to start walking or what? Shit, did I break something? Or come on, get away from the other NPCs. Come on, you jackass. Oh, you're just being a jackass. Come on, come to me. Thank you. So now, shows his goods. And then he just starts talking. Now, you notice that since it was not a montage, it had a slight break there. It was kind of a non-smooth transition. If you use your animation blueprint to actually do these things, it works better. And if you go from one animation montage to another animation montage, then it'll work better. He just walked into me. Another way is to put a delay in. It'll help break that weird looking stutter effect. So we'll put a 1 second delay in. So yeah, however you've got your character moving. All right, walk towards me. Now we've broke the collision box, so it's working. Shows his goods. Pause for a second, and then starts talking. And then as soon as we say, okay, we're done with your stupid ass, we walk away. Then he goes back to his normal animations, and then continues walking. See, easy enough. Just came over to me. Hi, would you like to look at my stupid ass products? I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, man. Look at me. No, fuck off. So you could do the face me thing also, to where they would just when you get in front of them, they turn and face you, and then they start doing their thing. And then when you get done with them, you could also have the widget automatically pop up. Or now that I'm here, I can set it to actually play a widget. And, oh, I don't like that. Because we're at an NPC, I just created that. Now when I walk away, I still have a mouse cursor, and I don't want that. So we just broke it. Add a viewport. So yeah, this happened. That error happened because we were at an NPC at this point. So for this guy, we would probably want to get rid of that if we're not displaying a widget. So since we're not using a widget for this guy, I don't want him to actually do anything when we get to the player other than this stuff. I don't want him to set anything that would cause that. Because of the generic way that I've got the NPCs set up to where I can interact with them. So I walk over to Fred, he's waving at me. I can hit F and bring up the thing and then walk away. But with this guy, if I walk up or hit F, it's not going to do anything because I didn't tell it to. And why did you break now? Alright, so we don't need the player anymore. We're not. We end overlap. We set our animation back, and that didn't happen. You fix one thing and something else breaks. I love it. Alright, let's get you talking. Yes, Fred, I see you waving over there. You're talking, so I walk away, and you're normal. Why did it break last time? Why did stupid ass break? And I can't remember how to set it to where the floating text above the player's head is always facing. So if I walk away now, why is he still... I'm no longer at you. End overlap. Setting my animations right here. When in doubt, add a frickin' delay. I don't know why it's doing that. That shouldn't have broke, but then again, this is Unreal Engine 4. Weird shit happens. So if we interact, we're good, we walk away, and he's still doing that. Uninterrupted. Showing goods. I don't know if it'll like that or not, but... So, if he's doing his montage and I walk away, it's interrupted. Leave him alone. Why are you being an asshole? Just doing that animation, that's fine. But whenever I took out the at component from here, I'm no longer at this. This shouldn't matter here. As I had here, set at NPC to false, and that's all I was there. Then I went into setting the animation instance class to third person animation and allowed them to walk. So you do your thing, and then when I walk away, you're allowed to walk. Wow. Just wow. You went right into that. You did not. I'm no longer there. And whenever I'm no longer there, you were to change your animation. So that doesn't have to be there at all. End overlap, you go back to your third person animation blueprint, and then you are allowed to walk again. It's that simple. Why is it being difficult? We're no longer here. This only works if we are here. If we end overlapping with that box, it should essentially stop anything going on right here. And the reason why it broke is I pulled out the at component because whenever I hit F, it then was trying to automatically set me up. See, it's working perfectly fine now. And I'm not really overlapping, but my collision capsule is. But now it's broken. Walk back over here. You're still talking. Let's dump that and see what happens. Oh, Unreal 4, why you vex me so? So walk away. He's still doing that montage. So we're going to have to put a delay. Showing his goods. I walk away. We need to, as a failsafe, add a delay in. And we'll just give it a 3-second delay. To make sure he's got time to finish doing whatever the animation montage was. Again, this is where I would rather have it all set up in the animation blueprint because it's an absolute. So he's doing his thing. I walk away. Gives him time to finish. Go back to the regular, and then he should be able to continue walking. Here we go. Interrupt him. He finishes his montage. But I walk away and wait 3 seconds, and he goes back to his thing. So uncompleted. Play animation. Montage. What? No. Dumbass. Play animation. It's set to looping. And that might have been the issue. So let's leave it without the animation looping. So he'll just do the talking thing one time. Shows goods. And then he'll go into talking. I walk away. It'll wait 3 seconds, and then he's back to doing his normal thing again. Okay. By having that delay in there, it just kind of gives it time to finish what it's doing. And I think because it was looping, it's set to looping, um, you know, yeah, I guess it was set to looping. That's what the issue was, because it kept wanting to do the animation. And it didn't want to release itself from that animation sequence. So if I walk away from that, it's not going to have time to do all of it. And then it just snaps back, and then he goes doing his thing. So then he walks in front of me, and then he's talking. He gets done, and he freezes. So we need him to go back to something else. There's no end. The end of that, it just does not work. 3 seconds, he'll go back to normal again. So we could always just do that. Just give him a second montage. So on completed, you should go right into the next montage, and that's just going to be talking. Okay. So showing goods. He's talking. When he gets done, we need him to do something at the end of when I'm done. He goes back because the montage, he's playing it, it just interrupts your current animation sequence, does the montage, and then automatically goes back into his idle sequence. So we walk away, and I'm like, okay, yes, Fred, I see you waving over there. We don't care. Nobody likes you. You could have him change colors, play animations, play sounds, do montages. You can do all kind of stuff. Have him turn around and face you like we did with the trainer. So when he gets done, you know what? We don't want to look at you anymore. We just walk away, and then he's still stuck doing that animation. So what we're going to have to do is, even with this delay in here, 3 seconds is not enough time for him to complete this long animation sequence. So he's going to play this one, and then he's going to play that one. And then when he's done, he's going to go back to his regular idle animation. But if we leave before these two are finished, and how do we set an interrupted? Call when montage has been interrupted or failed to play. Yeah, okay. Starting section. So instead, it's not taking that into effect because it's still playing that montage. So I guess, like I said, using the animation blueprint, whenever you're setting at NPC, you can actually go in there and your animation blueprint. And if you want a montage to work in your anim graph, all you have to do is just drag off from here, type in slot, S-L-O-T, and just insert a slot, default slot, in between here and here, and it lets the montages work. See, I have done nothing in here whatsoever. But what you can do is, from try get pawn owner, you can set up a sequence node and split it off so that you can run a separate one specifically for the testing NPC. And since he's using a shared animation blueprint with everybody, pretty much for right now, what's going to happen is you have to specifically say, okay, we are referencing the testing blueprint. Or for this case, it's the testing NPC. Yes, I can't stand the way this frickin' animation blueprint looks to begin with. Oh, I have to. I mean, I have to do this. It will bug the living crap out of me if I don't do this. So after here, you can actually do cast to testing. I should have given it a better name, but I didn't. First thing I would do is come in here and do sequence. Even though we don't need it right now, and if we continue to develop this project, then we will. And then from our try get pawn owner, you just drag this to your object reference. And from here, let's go ahead and compose and save. From here, when we're overlapping, we can just create another variable here and set it there. So let's create one at me. And we'll just drag that in here, set at me to true. And then when we leave, we want it to set at me default. And if you were trying to do this with this, well, first off, let's go ahead and break that. And for now, we'll just drag this over to here. Let's just break everything. Go from here to setting our movement mode back to walking. And, you know, instead of making all this difficult, I'm just going to delete all this shite. Actually, we need to keep that. We need to set at here. So still, whenever we walk up to and we set that variable, we change it to none. So we stop our player from our NPC from walking, and then when we leave, we want him to be able to go back to doing his normal thing again. So that needs to be there. So we're doing our third person animation right now, and that's cool. If we look at our dude now, all we want him to do is, okay, start walking again. Wow, you moved a foot, you asshole. Alright, so now he won't be able to move whatsoever until we leave, and then he can go back to walking again. Go back over here, he won't walk anymore until we get out of his box, then he can start walking. So that's good. So we're going to do this. Get at me. So if somebody is at me, or at the NPC, at that stupid ass. So you can come up with much more creative Boolean names than that. But we're going to go ahead and let's run a branch. Sometimes you can get away without doing it. Sometimes you need it. But when that is true, then we want to do one thing and false another. In this case, we're going to set this to true, and when it's not true, it's false. Fair enough, right? Go to our anim graph, default, and dude's not going to be jumping, so we're not worried about that at all. And then we're going to drag off from here, and we're going to add a state. Vendor. I don't know. To get to this state, we are at stupid ass. At that stupid ass. And then to get back from that state, then we are at that stupid ass not. So not B, not Boolean. So we're not at that stupid ass. And then the actual animation we're going to do is talking, not throw. Talking to sounds good. So we just grab that, drag it in here, plug it in, and he's going to do that. And in theory, now if we walk over here, he's going to start talking to us. And then we walk away, he's just going to say, screw you, and go back to doing what he was doing. So this is a lot simpler method of doing it. We're not building a full sequence here, but we're just telling him to do this. If we want him to do like we were doing before, show the goods and then do the other part, we can actually branch it. So I'm going to break that. So change the name of this. Get to vendor. So when we get to the vendor, we want him to show his goods. So that's what the first one's going to be is, okay, we just got there, he's going to show goods. And then to get there is the same, we're at the vendor. But then we need to transition into the next one, which we're going to add a state here, which is our talking vendor. So we'll just do talking vendor is, we'll say talking to for the animation we're going to use. And then to get from when we first get there, he's going to show his goods. Let's actually change that so we know what it is. Showing goods. When he gets done doing this one, we want him to be able to do that. So if we go here and we type in time remaining, and I'm going to use ratio. And we want to know that our float is less than 0.1. So it pretty much it's saying if you're less than 0.1% done, then you can actually get into from here to here. And then before it can actually go back into its idle or walk or run or whatever else, we need to transition back to that. So to get back to this, we need to at least know that we are not at the vendor anymore. So this is where we can do our at stupid ass not Boolean and then plug that in. So when we're no longer at this vendor, then we can go back to doing our normal thing. So when we first get there, we are currently at the vendor. It's going to show he's going to show his goods, and then when he's done showing his goods, he's going to go into a talking thing, and he's going to continue doing the talking thing until we leave. And then when we leave, he goes back to doing his normal thing again. So we've created a small sequence there. So we come over and shows the goods, goes right into talking. He's talking to us the whole time, and then we walk away. Well, I'm done. So I'll just go back to walking again. And there was much rejoicing. This is why I say it's always better to use the animation blueprint whenever possible to manage things like this. But here's the fun part. Does it replicate? All right, this is the client. Client walks up and it's working, and the server sees it working. Client walks away, and we can see it is moving around. I hate having to do this just for this, and then I'll have to go back to doing the way I had it before. But you notice that he's doing his thing. Client walks up, interrupts him, and it's working just fine. We can see it just fine. Walk away, keeps doing his thing. Let's grab the server. Server walks into it. We see it working. We see it working. And there's much rejoicing. I didn't have to, do I cast this or do I replicate that or what? No. It's just there and it works. And even dumbass over there, we can do his wave thing, can actually be done the same way. But we're going to have to add another branch into the animation blueprint and split it off that way. Or we can just make a duplicate of the animation blueprint and just call it Fred's animation blueprint, or, you know, stupid ass animation blueprint. So we don't have to do each one of saying cast to player underscore base, cast to stupid ass, cast to Fred, cast to trainer. You can split it up that way. So let's grab the server, let's walk out of the box, and it goes back to doing his thing again. But if, come over here, stop waving, Fred. Nobody likes your ass. So he stopped waving, and this is where I need to, and this kind of torques me off, is I'm trying to use my server, but then suddenly I'm doing the client again. Because and this doesn't happen in multiplayer, when you're actually packaged the game and everything's running and everything's great. When you're, and I'm going to cover this and then I'm going to get out of here. When you are getting your player controller, okay, it's like I did with this right here. If you get player controller and you print text, do to text here, so we can actually output this to a text value, and to text. Now print text, you dumbass. Print text, then you plug this in. We're going to report back our player controller. All right. So, two players. Server hits G, player controller 0. Client hits G, player controller 1. That's no problem. But when you start breaking it down even more and you try to get this player index, they're both going to come back as 0 whenever you're play testing like this. And it doesn't do this when you actually package the game and play it. So it's unusual, but press G, player controller 0. If the client hit it, they will report back as their player controller 1. And the problem is whenever you're using this in the editor, it screws up sometimes, because if you actually do get player controller ID and actually run this, where are you getting your player reference? You can't do it from self. So it's just weird. I plug that in there, and I hit play, hit G, none. Why? Because there is no, the host is always 0. But if you did get player controller ID and did a to text this way, and you actually were getting the player controller ID versus getting the player controller, and you hit play, -1. How the hell is it -1? It's either a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3, or whatever, but how does it end up being a -1? So it reports back incorrectly, and yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. So when you're actually play testing, and specifically with widgets that are actually changing your input mode, it can get a little screwy, but I have not seen where it mattered in a compiled version playing online together with somebody. So, that. Compile and save. We are good to go on all this. Make sure our map saved. And I'm still going to experiment with different things on the NPCs and interacting and that kind of stuff with them. But to wrap up this video, I want to do one thing really quickly here. Open project. If you guys hadn't been watching the stuff about the secret mines, yeah, I uninstalled 424 just because I have had nothing but issues with 424. I can't get any packaged project to actually play, whether it's with or without my Civil Multiplayer Steam template. So the builds just have not been working. So I completely uninstalled the damn thing. I'm just not going to deal with 424. So if you're using 424 and you like it and you want to continue, sorry. I may be convinced later on to come back to it, but anything. That's what I'm looking for. And then I'll click right into the FPS project. For those who want to know why I have not continued with the Bank Heist project, it's because it's a Cindy Studios product, and they have not responded back to me in over a month. So I'm not worried about them. Test map. Yeah, test map on the secret mines here. Added in just one guy at start, but I can hit the 2 key, and I can spawn as many freaking dudes as I want. Regular secret mine, throw it out, goes out, hit the target, blows up, kills, or does damage in a radius. Works delightful. Hit the number 3 key. This is a cluster. It spawns multiples. Each one will then run around, and still haven't changed the targeting on it yet, but actually, see, it splits off, gives you 3 more, and whenever it blows up, if the target is actually dead, the remaining seekers will continue looking for a live target. Love it. And number 4 key, it's an airburst. It'll go out, get next to the target, and then it will fly up in the air and blow up. So if they're running, it may not actually get them. I mean, sometimes it'll spawn 2 of them. It's just addictive. Just sit here and screw around with a stupid seeker mine. And I don't know why, but oh god, that looked uncomfortable there, bro. It'll get next to a target and just say screw it and just go to a different target. So I'll look at different methods for targeting, but it's addictive as shit just to sit here and play with this. Bye-bye, baby. You're next. I did ragdolls on this one here. It's addictive as hell. I can sit here and play it with that crap for an hour and not think twice about it. The FPS project, I want to continue with this one just because it's also kind of fun. Even though it's single player, there's no multiplayer in it whatsoever. Started looking at what a lot of other people do, and they split their characters, and they're running the FPS and third-person characters at the same time. Kind of playing around with the map a little bit, just trying to get something going here, so that yeah, I don't like the lighting, but and I got to do some little tweaks so when you're sprinting, changes, you know, like for the scope and stuff. So you got your red dot optic. They put guys in the windows. They're a little bit different. The NPCs don't run out of the building. So let's change the scope out. And then we can zoom in. And they've got AK-74s. So I'm actually going to put the silencer on and quiet it down a little bit. So let's actually change scopes back. And see, I got to change it to where, see, it changed it, it didn't do the animations because I didn't tell it to see if I'm walking or not. And the reload should be working okay. So these guys, you get within their peripherals. So yeah, they got the AK-74. But they're not smart. You know, not smart AI. And if you try to throw a secret... Oh, shit, I forgot. Nav mesh bound is not there. Number 1 key is still meant for spawning additionals. But if you throw a secret mine out, there's no nav mesh bounds out here, so it's just dead weight. It'll just sit there until its self-destruct timer kicks in, and it'll just blow up. But if you throw it inside, it works just fine for... Oh, sucks to be you. You dead, princess? Those guys are... Get the hell off of me. Punk ass. Yeah, so these guys, they're just sitting there idle, doing their own thing. They don't see you. They can't see behind you. I could set it up to where the rifle actually plays, when it plays the sound, it actually, I reload. Oh, and I gotta set the timing on the grenade as well. I love those secret mines. Not something that I would want into a regular play cycle, but it's just fun. They're dead. If I throw a secret in here, even though it's not going to track towards them because the current system was set for going to the other NPCs. And if I set it to cast to character, then it's going to go towards me as well, and I don't want that. But if I throw a grenade in here, it just does damage. So I've got to do some tweaks to the secrets. Kill both of them because, you know, it did radial damage. But I just had to have a map in here for testing. I'll probably come back and do a movable sun. But before I started tweaking the lighting, I liked the way the lighting was. And it was completely dark in here, and I was going to add some lights in. Or make it to where you need to use your flashlight because it was too dark. So it was a bit more of a challenge. You come into the building, you got to use your flashlight. Yeah, that kind of stuff. But, yeah. That. I did look at the advanced locomotion. I don't like it. There was pretty much nothing about the blueprint architecture that they had in there that I liked. So, yeah. nothing else really has changed. Haven't worked on Fortnite. Haven't worked on my submarine thing. Haven't worked on Stream Party. Interesting sample. I never really paid attention to that. Always load last project on startup. So if you just fired up the thing, it would automatically open your project. I'm not really concerned with that, um, but yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna eat something. I gotta do some official paperwork stuff and taxes and shit like that. So thank you guys for stopping by and checking in. Keep up with me on Discord, and yep, we'll see you around.